Hi, my name is Jennifer O'Mara, and I'm running for state representative in the 165th Legislative District. That includes parts of Springfield, the rest of Marple, Radnor, and Morton, and thanks to our friend Gerrymander, 3 dorms of Villanova University. It's great, right? I am running for office because my family is a product of public services and of the labor movement. When I was 13 years old, my father died by gun suicide, and is what brought my family to Delaware County. We made it because there were good public schools for us to attend. We had CHIP when we needed it. My dad, as a union firefighter, provided a pension for us, and my mom got a job as a school bus driver in Upper Darby, and that job gave us the lifeline that we needed. The most important issues in my district are making sure that we have a middle class that has a chance. It's providing jobs and wages so that people can break out of surviving and start to thrive. And the most important issue I've heard about from voters are guns. It is the only thing they're asking us about. And I'm proud to say I am a Moms Demand Action Gun Sense candidate, and I have a lot of ideas about things we can do to make our schools and our communities safer. So thank you for being here tonight. And thank you for Delco Indivisible for helping write postcards for me last week. Aww. That touch is going to be huge with voters this year. So thank you all so much for your support. So I was impacted by this issue in a totally different way. I'm sort of the matriarch of my family. You can imagine that when you see my age running for office. And a couple years ago, I got a phone call that my cousin had been arrested and was in George Hill, the private prison not far from here. And so he had been sitting there for 3 days before they even bothered to call me and tell me. When I called to try to find him, they insisted that he was not there. It took 2 more days to identify him. They had his name spelled wrong in the system, and luckily we finally helped them figure that out. He then sat in jail for 2 weeks, lost all of his jobs, and we had to come up with bail to get him out. In my opinion, we need to close private prisons, and we need to change the bail system. Right now, if someone gets arrested and they get a bail of $3,000, say, and they, well, not $3,000, say $30,000, you need to put up 10% of that. That's $3,000. I don't know about you, but many people don't have $3,000 sitting around to go bail someone out. And while they sit in jail waiting for bail, they're losing their job, their families are waiting, and their lives are being destroyed over what? So we need to change bail and close private prisons. They would be my top 2 priorities. We need to move towards renewable energy. We all know that. We see what's happening with our environment. We see what's happening with the pipeline. And we also see, you know, my husband served in Afghanistan. If we want to admit it, that was a foreign war to fight for oil overseas. So we need to start advancing towards clean and renewable energy sources. And a lot of this argument comes between labor and environment, right? I don't think that needs to be an argument between those 2 organizations. Who is more committed to our community and a clean environment besides the people who live here? And laborers are local people who live here. So we need to get both of those groups at the table and start working towards retraining on new renewable energy sources. My neighbor Emilio works on wind turbines and tells me that $80,000 is the starting rate for someone who is trained on wind turbines. That's a great salary, and it's a great job for many people who don't want to go through the education system. It may not be for them. So I think this is it's not just an environmental issue, but it's a social justice issue, and that's why it's so important that we fight for it. I would love to move towards 100% clean energy one day. However, like Mike said, we're on defense right now. We have a state legislature that is trying to, we have no severance tax. They don't, you know, they're not considering the average person, so we need to elect new people in order to really push the environmental policies that we want to see push forward. Thank you for that question. I actually am just getting involved with Springfield Cares, which is an organization that is mostly run by the people funding my opponent, and they see my commitment and invited me to join the leadership of that group. So first of all, we need to talk about it. We need to have conversations about substance use disorders. Stop treating it like a criminal justice issue. Start treating it like a public health issue. We need to break the stigma. There is a stigma surrounding mental health, surrounding substance use disorders. People are afraid to come forward, and if they do, they don't want to talk about it. I have personally been impacted by family members and friends who have been struggling, and there is a time when you're isolated in this illness. It's not just the person struggling, it's a family illness. So we need to create more, we need to first get more resources here in Delco. Right now, if someone chooses to, if they're off heroin and they want to go through Suboxone or methadone treatment, there are no centers to regulate that distribution of medication, and that is a viable option for someone who lives in chronic pain. We also need to make sure the medical marijuana program is in fact passed in Pennsylvania. There are distributors open, but right now there are many people who cannot seek that treatment. Top in the list are veterans. The federal government is preventing veterans from being able to get access to medical marijuana. Therefore, their only options are opioids. So there are so many things that we need to do, but it starts with having conversations, with breaking the stigma, with getting more resources here, and with providing resources for family members that are affected, because this is a family illness, not just the person struggling. Thank you. So when I get elected, there's going to be a group that has a voice that hasn't had a voice since the middle of the 1980s, and that's women. There has not been a female state rep in this seat and there's only been one. I think it's our job as state reps to have an office that is there to get things done for whoever calls, regardless of party affiliation. It's our job to employ competent and friendly staff and to bring in resources like social work students and people from the VA and people from local communities to make sure we are engaging everyone and informing them on things that are coming up. I also want to do something that I've yet to see done by anyone who has been representing my district, have a town hall. There are 4, yeah, right? A town hall. What's that? Brilliant idea. There are 4 townships in my district, and my goal when I get elected is to start 2019 with a township in every town, a town hall in every township. That is the best way to reach voters and reach people and let them know that we're there for them. On my literature, we put a cell phone number on there that I have, and when you go to my website and enter an email request in, I get it. And people are so surprised that I'm the one answering back and I'm the one taking these calls. Well, as the state rep and as the candidate, it's my job to be accessible and to be there. And like Kathy, I work 40 hours a week, and my coworkers are terrified of me winning because I'm the person that they go to get things done. And I think that attitude and that work ethic is going to be a great asset for any elected official, because it's not something we're used to right now. So there's one thing that I think everyone here has in common, that November 8th, 2016 was a traumatic day for us, or maybe November 9th, the day after, when we were recovering. I reached out to the Democratic Party a week later to say, these are my skills, what can I do? You all did the same thing under Indivisible. Last year, I started running for this seat in March of 2017 when it was an uphill battle that seemed impossible, that they were like, oh, Democrat woman? You're not going to win that seat. It's been held by Bill Adolph for 28 years, and now the guy they picked to come right after him. Then 2017 happened in Delaware County. We elected 5 Democrats countywide for the first time since the Civil War, because we are not sitting by anymore and just allowing things to happen. We are participating, we are engaged, we are educated, and we are voting. I'm a certified social studies teacher, and voting is something that I've always taken so seriously. When I was 18 and I got to vote for the first time, I called my mom to make our voting plan and found out she wasn't registered to vote and never voted in her whole life. So I registered her, I left college, went and picked her up, and we voted together. Now, we are here in a time where our children and everyone is watching. What is going to happen? What is 2018 going to be? Will it be this wave year? It will not be this wave year unless we get our boots on the ground, unless we make phone calls, unless we do the work to make this happen. And a room like this is so exciting because we have candidates in every seat in Delaware County. We have people behind us. We are funding our campaigns with the support of people and not special interests. And it is an incredible thing to be a part of. But we will not win unless you mobilize, unless you call your friends and your family when you leave here and say, hey, you're in Springfield or you're in Newtown. We have these great candidates. You need to make sure you get out and vote. Get people registered, send postcards, have the uncomfortable political conversations. Because until we do, nothing is going to change. And we need to turn on the TV and see something exciting and not this onslaught of horror that we're getting out of Washington, D.C. every single day. That's going to happen with rooms like this. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your energy. Keep it up. We have a long road ahead of us, but the celebration, November 7th, 2018, is going to be amazing.